If you've been watching the Braxtons lately, you already know the family's barely holding it together. But last night, that wasn't just TV drama. That was betrayal televised. The kind of moment that makes you forget you're watching a show and start clutching your pearls. The episode started like any other family sit-down, the kind that always ends with someone storming out. Toni sitting quiet, trying to keep the peace. Trina sipping her drink like she already knew the storm was coming. Mama Evelyn watching like she's seen it all before. And then there's Towanda and Tamar across the table from each other, both smiling too hard. You could feel the tension through the screen. These sisters have always been oil and water. Ever since season 1, it's been shade behind fake laughs and therapy sessions that never fixed a thing. But after losing their sister Tracy in 2022, it's like all those cracks in the family just got deeper.
My aunts and my family do not talk to me because they think that I, at the age of 16, did something with her partner at the time.
The pain didn't bring them closer. It made the silence louder. So when Towanda opened her mouth this time, it wasn't just another sister argument. It was a bomb. She leaned forward, eyes locked on Tamar, and said, "You slept with Toni's man."
Tamar not lying about Towanda stealing money from her to the point where her credit card bills are going up. In fact, Tamar telling the truth so much that Towanda had to say that Tamar slept with Toni's ex, which, mind you, how good of a sister can you be for you to know this information and not tell it until someone makes you mad? Like, you didn't tell Toni about Tamar sleeping with her ex until Tamar calls you out for being a thief, which you've been a thief before. So Tamar telling this wouldn't be that too far off. For the people in the back, that's not the first time Towanda stolen. In 2005, Towanda got arrested for theft by receiving and forgery, and she was convicted and pled guilty and got 4 years probation. She worked for an insurance company and stole checks from them, and she cashed one of them at a liquor store. When she filed for bankruptcy in 2019, her ex-landlord was suing her at the time for $76,000, and the judge didn't allow her to not have to pay that debt. She had to pay that back. Mind you, the landlord was suing for unpaid rent and damages, but they were damages like knife holes in the doors and walls and fire damage. Towanda, what was y'all doing in that house? She was accused of stealing checks from her mama, and then she was accused of stealing from her sister. So stealing is kind of Tawanda's MO. The fact that Towanda didn't even deny the stealing but said that Tamar slept with Toni's ex just proved to me that she did it. She did all of that.
The table went dead silent. You could hear Trina choke on her drink. Toni's face didn't move, but her eyes said everything. And Tamar. She froze for a second, then laughed. That kind of laugh that says, "You tried it." Then she snapped right back, ready for war. She said, "Girl, don't play with me. You've been stealing my money for years, running up my cards, living in a house I paid for, and you got the nerve to lie on me?"
And just because you cosplay as Little Bill and Caillou, it does not mean that you have to act their age and throw temper tantrums by deflecting when your sister says that you were stealing money from her and saying, "You steal something too." Men, how old are we? I also want to interject, I play a lot, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with being bald. I'm just on her head right now, so walk with me. Okay, so you're not denying it. Right. I watched the last episode of the Braxtons, and I will say I'm very disappointed because we still don't know who anybody fucked.
The whole room flipped. Because here's the thing. Tamar wasn't lying about paying Tawanda's bills. Everybody in that family knows Tamar helped Towanda get her house. She even bragged about it once. "I put down your down payment, boo." That line hit like a slap in the face. But the stealing part? That's what really set social media on fire. See, when Tamar said, "You've been stealing my money," Towanda didn't even deny it. She didn't say, "That's a lie," or "How dare you?" She just fired back with more venom like, "Well, you sleep with people's men."
Oh, let me make sure I have this totally correct. Tamar can pay for your down payment for your house, but she can't come to your bachelorette party because she'll ruin everything. So really quickly, if Tamar was still going to be financing your life, why did we leave Andre and get with Sean? Seems like we could have just stayed with the man that also wasn't providing. Talking to y'all yesterday about the Braxtons, I thought it in my head, but I didn't say it out loud. But since Tam said it, let's just all say it. This needs to be the last season of the Braxtons. I don't know Tracy personally, but she is not pleased with their praise. So we're all on the same page. Let it be very clear that Towanda Chloe Braxton stole whatever money from Tamar's credit card that Tamar says she stole. Because who gets accused of stealing money from a credit card and says, "Oh, well, you steal too," instead of defending their honor? A thief. Good job. Quite literally, they would have to call the fire department and get the jaws of life to get me up off of you if you ever got on the camera on national television and said that I was stealing money from your credit card. Girl, what? Tawanda's reaction let me know that she's a grifter. If I'm being honest, while we speaking on reactions, the way that Trina snapped her head around and looked at Towanda when Tamar said, "I put down your down payment," it gave me, wait a minute, I put down your down payment too. Like, We was both paying for it?
And when somebody skips the denial and goes straight to deflection, baby, that tells you everything you need to know. It's wild, because the Braxtons always wanted to be seen as the first family of R&B, a mix of faith, talent, and sisterhood. But behind the gospel harmonies and talk show smiles, it's pure chaos. Towanda's been called the jealous one for years, the one who stood in Toni's shadow, who had to play assistant while her sisters chased fame. Tamar became the breakout star, loud, glamorous, unapologetic. Towanda stayed practical, quiet, holding grudges that never healed. Now here they are on national television, throwing around accusations that can ruin reputations. People online immediately started picking sides. Tamar fans said, she's telling the truth. Towanda always been shady. Others said, Tamar's deflecting because she got caught. And of course, the big question, who is Toni's boyfriend they're even talking about? Nobody knows for sure. But that's what makes it worse. The mystery gives the rumors room to grow. The crazy part is, this isn't the first time money or men have torn this family up. If you've watched them long enough, you know Towanda's had issues. Old paperwork shows she was once charged with theft and forgery back in the early 2000s. Probation, restitution, the whole thing. And when Tamar threw out, "You've been stealing my credit cards," it didn't sound like a stretch. Tamar might be dramatic, but she doesn't usually lie. And if you watched her face in that scene, she wasn't acting. That was real hurt under all that attitude. Now let's talk about that other part. The sleeping with Toni's man bomb. That's the kind of accusation that doesn't just break trust, it kills it. Toni Braxton has been through enough heartbreak in public to even hint that her own sister might have crossed that line. That's nuclear. And Tamar firing it right back like, no, you did it. That wasn't defense, that was detonation. Mama Evelyn tried to step in. You could see her mouth moving, trying to calm it down. But the damage was already done. You can't unsay that kind of thing. You can't come back from calling your sister a thief and a homewrecker. By the time the scene ended, nobody was talking. Toni was staring down at the table. Trina was shaking her head, and the camera cut to Tamar whispering, "Y'all love to play victim till I tell the truth." And that's the thing about this family. The truth is always treated like betrayal. Every time one of them gets honest, the others act like it's treason. After the episode aired, the internet went into full-blown detective mode. Fans started digging through old interviews, trying to figure out who Toni was dating before Birdman. Others started pulling court documents, linking Towanda to old theft charges and bankruptcy filings. One Reddit thread even claimed she once stole checks from her mama. Whether that's true or not, it added fuel to the fire. And then came the real twist. Fans started whispering that the boyfriend in question might not be an ex at all, but somebody Toni is still connected to. You can't make this up. This is supposed to be a show about family healing, about honoring their late sister Tracy, rebuilding their bond. Instead, it's turned into a televised civil war. By the end of the night, Tamar went live on Instagram, talking about fake love and family who smile in your face but prey on your downfall. She never said Towanda's name, but everybody knew who she meant. And the fans, they're eating it up. But behind all the memes and shady comments, there's something sad about it too. These aren't random celebrities beefing for clout. They're sisters, real blood. And somewhere between fame, money, and pride, they forgot what that meant. What started as a show about sisterhood has turned into a courtroom of confessions. And every new episode feels like another piece of the Braxton legacy breaking off. When the credits rolled on that episode, social media didn't even blink before it caught fire. By the time the West Coast feed aired, #BraxtonFamilyValues was trending again, but not because of music or sisterly love. It was because everyone wanted to know who was lying, who was stealing, and who was sleeping with whose man. Tamar posted one of those cryptic Instagram stories, a black screen with white text that said, "God don't bless messy hearts." No names, no context, but everybody knew it was about her sisters. Then, a few hours later, Towanda posted a selfie with a caption that read, "The loudest one in the room is usually the guiltiest." The fans didn't even need coffee. They were wide awake, ready to dissect every syllable. Toni stayed quiet, which somehow made it worse, because when the big sister, the superstar, the legend, goes silent, that's when you know it's serious. She's been the glue for decades, the calm voice in a house full of divas. But now, even Toni's patience seemed to be cracking. By Monday morning, gossip sites were running with headlines like "Braxton family implodes" and "Sister versus Sister. Who slept with Toni's man?" Even talk shows were debating it. Wendy-style bloggers were saying Toni should lawyer up. Others said Tamar was being blackballed by her own bloodline, and the timing couldn't have been worse. Toni's husband Birdman had just been in headlines himself for that Versus incident, where Tamar was accused of wiping his sweat on stage. Now people were connecting dots that maybe weren't even there, whispering, what if that's who they were talking about? It wasn't long before an old clip resurfaced. Tamar, joking around about loving her sister's man like family. Out of context, it sounded innocent. But now, fans were twisting it into something darker. Every old photo, every laugh, every side eye was being re-examined like evidence in a case. Meanwhile, Mama Evelyn was reportedly furious. Insiders claimed she felt embarrassed and blindsided, saying this kind of mess shouldn't be aired on TV. But let's be real. The producers knew exactly what they were doing. They'd been sitting on that footage for months, waiting for the perfect time to drop it. And when they did, ratings spiked overnight. Behind the scenes, things got uglier. Tamar allegedly stopped showing up to group filming. Towanda started doing confessionals alone, pretending like everything was fine, while Trina kept trying to play peacemaker. But even she admitted on camera, this family doesn't know how to forgive. We only know how to fight. By midweek, leaked text messages started circulating online. Unverified, of course, but believable enough to add gasoline. One showed what looked like Tamar texting a friend saying, I can't believe she would do me like this after I paid her bills. Let her drown next time. Another supposedly had Towanda saying, she thinks money makes her better than us. Fans split right down the middle. Team Tamar said she'd always been the scapegoat, the outspoken one, the easy target. Team Towanda said Tamar was manipulative, using her fame to control her sisters. And through it all, Toni kept quiet. No interviews, no statements, no tweets. Just silence, which somehow spoke louder than all their noise combined. But here's the thing, nobody's talking about. That silence from Toni might not be loyalty. It might be shock. Because according to one crew member who spoke anonymously, Toni was blindsided by the accusation too. They said when the cameras stopped rolling, Toni walked off set, refused to film any more confessionals, and told producers, y'all took it too far this time. And honestly, she's right. The Braxtons have always lived their drama in public, but there's a difference between arguing and detonating. Once you accuse your sister of sleeping with your man, even if it's an ex, there's no talking it out. That's not a wound you heal. That's a scar. Fans started doing what fans always do, digging. Someone on TikTok posted a timeline of Toni's past relationships, matching names and dates, trying to figure out which boyfriend could have crossed paths with Tamar or Towanda. The comments were a war zone. One said, it's gotta be Birdman. That sweat wipe scene makes too much sense. Another said, no, this was before Birdman. It's one of the producers she dated in the 2000s. Meanwhile, Tamar was still on her Insta stories, posting prayers and gospel lyrics one minute and shady memes the next. Classic Tamar behavior, vulnerable and venomous all at once. Towanda went live a few days later, pretending like nothing had happened. She said, people will twist your words for a storyline. I'm just focused on my piece, but the internet wasn't buying it. Everyone remembered that in the episode, when Tamar called her out for stealing, she didn't deny a thing, and that's what made the situation so messy. Nobody was denying anything. It's like the Braxtons stopped caring about protecting the family name. Every episode was another round of emotional warfare, secrets that had been whispered for years now being screamed into microphones for millions to hear. Then came the wildest rumor yet, that production was considering pausing filming altogether. Apparently, the network was terrified that one of the sisters might actually file a defamation lawsuit against another. Imagine suing your own blood on a show that's supposed to be about family. But honestly, would anyone even be surprised at this point? By the time the week ended, Tamar dropped another cryptic message that sent fans spiraling. You can't keep stealing from me. Money, energy, peace, and think karma won't collect. Everyone took that as confirmation that the credit card story was true. Blogs started pulling up old legal documents, showing Towanda's 2005 theft conviction and 2019 bankruptcy filing. It's like every buried secret was being dug up at once. And you could tell this wasn't just about one argument. This was years of jealousy, resentment, and competition finally bursting open. For Towanda, it's always been about being overlooked. For Tamar, it's about never being respected. And for Toni, it's about holding the family together while everyone else tears it apart. But even the strongest Braxton can only take so much. An insider close to Toni said she told the producer she's done trying to mediate grown women. Apparently, she said, I can't fix what they don't want to fix. Meanwhile, Tamar's team was reportedly in talks about pulling her from the show altogether. They said she's tired of being painted as the villain. And honestly, can you blame her? Still, you can feel it in the air. This isn't over. There's more under the surface, More secrets, more receipts, maybe even another family member ready to talk? And the craziest part? This all started because of a simple dinner that turned into a televised betrayal. The Braxtons built their fame on harmony, literal harmony. And now, their voices sound more divided than ever. But something tells me the quiet ones, the ones sitting on their truth, haven't even spoken yet. And when they do, well, the fallout might make last night's episode look tame. By the time the dust settled, the Braxtons weren't just trending, they were unraveling. And for the first time in years, it wasn't Tamar's mouth or Towanda's attitude making headlines. It was the silence of Toni Braxton. She had been quiet for days, watching the chaos unfold from the shadows, just like she always does. But silence, when it comes from someone like Toni, isn't peace. It's pressure. It's the kind that builds until it breaks. When she finally spoke, it wasn't on camera, it wasn't on social media. It was during a private interview that somehow mysteriously leaked to the blogs. A clip surfaced online showing Toni in her dressing room, hair wrapped, eyes tired but sharp. She said softly, "Family is supposed to be safe. But lately, it feels like home is the most dangerous place to be." And that one line, that quiet, heartbroken line, hit harder than anything Tamar or Towanda had screamed all season. Because people forget, before reality TV, before all the drama, Toni Braxton built that family name. She was the reason the Braxtons even had a spotlight. And now, it felt like her legacy was being dragged through the mud by the very people she fought to protect. After that clip went viral, everything changed. The fans stopped laughing. The memes slowed down. The tone shifted from entertainment to heartbreak. People started saying, "Toni doesn't deserve this." Others said, "This is what happens when you let reality TV turn family into content." But Tamar didn't back down. That same night, she went live again, sitting in her glam room with no makeup, hoodie pulled over her head, voice shaking but defiant. She said, "Y'all gonna stop acting like I'm the problem. I don't care what they tell y'all. I didn't steal. I didn't sleep with nobody's man. I helped my family when they had nothing. And this is the thanks I get?" Tamar was fighting tears, but the anger came out anyway. "I've been the villain since day one. I'm tired of protecting people who wouldn't even pray for me if I was dying." The comments were flooded, half the fans shouting, "We love you, Tay-Tay," and the other half calling her manipulative, jealous, toxic. It was a civil war in her own fan base. Meanwhile, Towanda tried to play calm. She posted a Bible verse, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." Then she added, "Peace is louder than lies." That caption alone sent the blogs spinning. Every outlet had a new theory. Every insider had a source close to the family. But the truth? Nobody really knew what was real anymore. Because once you accuse your sister of betrayal on camera, there's no coming back. No family dinner can fix that. No therapy session can cleanse it. Behind the scenes, producers were panicking. The network wanted another season. Ratings were through the roof. But the sisters weren't speaking. Trina was allegedly refusing to film until they all apologized to each other. Towanda's fiancé, Sean Hall, was supposedly begging her to leave the show altogether. And Mama Evelyn had stopped filming completely, saying she refused to sit at any table where love wasn't present. Even Toni's team was urging her to pull out, afraid the scandal would overshadow her music. But Toni, being Toni, stayed classy. She didn't quit. She didn't fight. She just showed up to her shows, sang her songs, and ignored the noise. Still, fans noticed the pain. At one of her concerts in Atlanta, Toni paused mid-performance before singing, "Unbreak My Heart." She looked out into the crowd and said, "Sometimes the people you love the most can hurt you the deepest, but you still gotta sing through it." The audience cheered, but everyone knew what she meant. After that, the story started to shift again. Not toward Tamar or Towanda, but toward the question everyone had been whispering since the start. Who was the boyfriend? The internet detectives went crazy. Some said it was an old producer Toni had dated before Birdman. Others insisted it was someone from the industry circle, a man connected to all three sisters. And though no one ever confirmed it, a few gossip blogs hinted that the mystery man had reached out to the network with a cease and desist, demanding they remove false allegations. That move only fueled the fire, because if the accusations weren't true, why stay quiet for so long? By now, the Braxton brand was fractured. The show that once celebrated sisterhood had turned into a public trial. Every episode felt heavier than the last. More tears, more tension, less laughter. And fans were starting to see the cost of putting a family under a microscope for a decade straight. Tamar, who once joked that the Braxtons are like the Kardashians with soul, now looked exhausted. Her confidence was cracked. During a podcast appearance, she admitted, "It's hard when your own blood don't clap for you. When they'd rather see you break than see you win." Towanda, on the other hand, started getting real defensive. She posted another message saying, "Y'all love drama, but hate healing. I said what I said." But people weren't laughing anymore. The public had turned. Fans began dragging her in the comments, calling her a thief, a snake, and the jealous sister. Someone even dug up her old mugshot and reposted it with the caption, "Guess Tamar wasn't lying after all." And that's when it hit. This wasn't just another Braxton feud. It was a full-blown family implosion, and everyone could see it. The tabloids started running brutal headlines. Tamar exposes family secrets on air. Towanda's dark past resurfaces. Toni Braxton breaks down in tears during concert. It was too much, even for them. The network called an emergency meeting to discuss damage control, but according to insiders, Toni didn't show up. Tamar refused, and Towanda didn't answer her phone. The meeting ended with producers agreeing to push back filming for a few weeks, though everyone knew what that really meant. The show might be done. That night, Toni posted a single photo on Instagram, just a candle burning in a dark room. The caption said, "Sometimes silence is the only way to survive." Fans flooded the comments, begging her to fix things with her sisters. But one comment, buried deep, stood out. It said, "You can't fix people who benefit from being broken." No one knows if Toni saw it, but it sure felt like the truth. By the next morning, Tamar had deleted all her Braxton-related posts. Towanda's engagement had reportedly been postponed, and the show's future was officially listed as on hiatus. Mama Evelyn was seen leaving a church in Maryland, refusing to talk to reporters. When asked about her daughters, she just said, "I raised 5 girls, but somewhere along the way, fame raised them more than I did." And that might have been the most honest statement in the entire saga. Because underneath all the glitter, Grammys, and gossip, the Braxton family's story isn't really about who stole money or who slept with who. It's about what fame does to love. It amplifies it when it's good, and poisons it when it's not. In the end, nobody won. Tamar got the backlash, Towanda got the blame, and Toni got the heartbreak. And maybe that's the saddest part. Because when Tamar screamed, "Y'all don't clap for me," and Toni whispered, "Home doesn't feel safe," and Towanda posted, "I said what I said," they weren't just talking to each other. They were talking to the world that's been watching them fall apart for years. The same world that once sang along to "He Wasn't Man Enough" now scrolls past clips of them crying and fighting on TV, forgetting these are real sisters with real scars. So maybe the Braxtons didn't need another season. Maybe what they really needed was space. Away from cameras, away from producers, away from a world that feeds on their pain. But you know how this goes. As long as there's drama, there's a storyline. And as long as there's a camera, somebody's gonna talk. So here we are again. The family that gave us harmonies now giving us headlines. And as for the truth, maybe we'll never get it. Maybe the truth got lost somewhere between what was filmed and what was felt. But one thing's for sure, the Braxton name will never sound the same again. If you made it this far, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Who do you believe? Was Tamar defending herself, or was Towanda exposed? And do you think Toni can ever truly forgive them both? Hit that like button, share the story if you felt the heartbreak, and don't forget to subscribe. Because with this family, the next chapter always finds a way to get even messier.